What is your guess? I can't go into that store ever again. Story. I pissed all over the floor of a toy store when I was a toddler. My poor dad was mortified, but the staff were very nice about it. The store's closed now, which really sucks. I don't think I actually remember the name of the place. Edit. Thanks for all the suggestions as to what the store's name might be been. It was actually an independent toy store, not a big chain like Toys R Us, which is still open in Canada. I did some searching on the Wayback Machine last night and found out that the store's name was It's All Fun and Games in Vancouver. If you work there, sorry for pissing all over your floor. I am at a coffee shop. Have a glass of coffee in front of me, filled to the top. That shit is almost overflowing. I raise my hand to get the waitress' attention because I want to order something else. I accidentally whack the shit out of the glass. This sends it flying across the room where it hits the waitress on the thigh and gets coffee fucking everywhere. Felt bad, so I left and never went back. When I was a kid, my family went to a pizzeria Uno, and before the food came I went to inspect the plumbing. They had those sinks where you press down on the knob and the water would flow, with the knob slowly raising back up before it would turn off after 20 seconds. I used my fist and hit the top of the knob and the thing just popped off and a huge geyser of water was erupting nonstop. Me and another kid were in there. We looked at each other and just bolted from the bathroom. Monsieur. I got back to my seat and just sat there silent. Then my mom went to use the bathroom, and when she came back she told us this story of how there was a pool in the bathroom hallway and the manager and an employee were in the men's room slipping and sliding trying to shut off the water. My whole family was laughing at the story, but I just sat there silent. They asked me what's wrong and I told them it was me that did it. They never fail to mention it every time we drive past a pizzeria Uno. Even now 20 years later, I've never stepped foot in one since then. Edit. Since a lot of people are asking, quote, inspecting the plumbing was a joke my family made when I do go to pee at a restaurant. I'd usually be a glutton about free drink refills, and would always have to get up and pee mid-meal. So my family always joked I was obligated to inspect the plumbing at every establishment. Went on a first date with this girl to a new restaurant in town. She proceeded to get sloppy drunk and made a huge scene. From the classic could not control the volume of her voice to insisting on trying to show me and some other gentleman nearby what kind of underwear she had on while loudly insisting that she's a good girl, though. The server we had seemed to get that I was not a willing part of this, but I was so mortified. There's no way I'd ever go back. My girlfriend fist bumped the clerk when he was actually reaching to grab a paper we had just signed. Anyway, we don't go to that tire kingdom anymore. Do barber shops count? Decided to get a haircut whilst having a cold. Sneezed and farted at the same time. Never went back. I used to go to the same haircut place since I was in kindergarten until I was in my teens. One day I go for a haircut and get this new, fairly attractive woman. As she's starting I start to sweat. Now sometimes when I was younger my head would get really hot and my head would sweat when I was in. Put on the spot sometimes. Anxiety I guess. No idea. But it's mostly gone away thankfully. Usually a few drops of sweat will roll down my face when this happens. But not today. It was like someone was standing over me slowly pouring a bottle of water slowly over my head. It just kept going and going. Eventually the girl mentions, "Wow, you must be really hot." I am already very nervous, and blurt out the first thing that pops into my head. Quote, "Yeah, it must be because you're pretty." I am not sure why this is happening. You're pretty, but it's not like you're that pretty. So pretty much as soon as the last words are leaving my mouth I start asking myself, why in God's name would you say that? Now I am even more embarrassed and I have to sit through a haircut feeling like an idiot. A drippy wet idiot. Actual surveillance footage of me as the haircut was finishing. I spent the rest of the haircut praying for it to be done quickly or for a meteor to come through the ceiling and put me out of my misery. The girl handled the rest of the haircut like a goddamn pro. No idea why she didn't just kick me out. She finished. I paid. Gave her a huge tip. And now I drive farther to get my haircut done somewhere else. You know how in department stores when they have one of those display bathrooms they have that piece of plexiglass that goes across the toilet that says something along the lines of, "Not a real toilet. Don't be an idiot and pee in this?" Those barriers didn't exist in the 80s when I was a young kid. Mom looked up and saw me with my panties off, holding my dress above my waist and sprinting for the toilet. She did not catch me in time. Edit. Thanks so much for my first silver. I'll tell my mom and maybe it will help to ease a bit of the embarrassment and shame this event caused her. While at the till at the convenience store paying for my lunch, the girl behind the counter asked if I wanted to go for a drink. Being married, I made my apologies, hastily pointing to the ring on my fingers. To which she replied that my lunch was a meal deal and would be cheaper with the drink. I tripped up over my shoelace and crashed into a shelf and broke it. The manager chased me out of the store. Edit. Cheers for silver, my dears. I was with a group of friends in a very quiet store. We were slowly leaving one by one through the double glass doors. One of it was closed and the other stayed opened. I somehow thought the closed door was opened and vice versa. So I walked smack into the middle of the closed glass door. My face was imprinted on it. I guess my face was very oily. My friends and the shopkeeper came rushing to see if I was okay. Then all marveled at my squashed face imprint. I left quickly. Every time I walk past that shop, I make sure I am looking down or at the other side in case the staff recognize my face. Back when I was getting married, I was sick as a dog and my soon-to-be bride insisted we go shopping for the wedding invites. Went into this pretty higher-end shop and really felt ill, and not just at the prices. Asked one of the workers if they had a restroom I could use. Long story short, took a massive smelly diarrhea dump. Clogged the toilet and they had no plunger to fix it with. Even though I only flushed once, the toilet kept running and it started to overflow. Rushed out, closed the door, grabbed my bride by the arm and just said, quote, "We gotta go." Not a store, but a public library. We're at the counter, and the librarian is scanning the books we've selected. She was generously sized. My little brother, 4 or 5 at the time, tugs my mom down to whisper something in her ear. He was rather new to the concept of whispering. He put his hand up to shield his lips from the librarian. Despite all this, he says about the librarian at standard speaking volume, quote, "Hey mom, you ever notice how fat that lady is?" Quote, Mom tried to play it off by saying something akin to, "He thinks it's okay to say it to others 'cause he says it to me." But my mom's not fat. It did not work. We used to go there every day when my mom didn't want to have to hire a babysitter to watch us. During the summer, she'd bring us to her office and let us walk across the street to the public library to play games on their Windows Vista PCs. Or just read books. She'd always come to pick us up when she was done with work. She started looking for babysitters soon after. I got a gym membership for the first time recently. A lot of the machines are pretty self-explanatory, but I've never used a lot of them, so I have no idea what I'm doing. So a few weeks ago, I'm trying out the endless stare machine, and in front of me is a guy on a machine working his arms, like making circular pedaling motions. I thought, I could do my arms too. So I take the machine next to his. Set the timer for 10 minutes. Just circling away. I finish my 10 minutes and look down by the seat to see handles. It was a leg machine. I sat there for 10 minutes in front of the entire gym. God and everybody circling my arms like a lunatic. I mean, I'm still going back because I paid for it. But I'm not going to look anyone in the eye there ever again. I sat on a Target shelf and the entire row of shelves crashed down onto the ground. This is a fond memory. Moved downtown to our university area. Got myself a sweet deal on a cheap, ghetto-as-fuck studio. The kind that get rented out to poor students next to the area homeless shelter. 2006. Rent is only $300 a month. And I am not in school. Too busy being punk rock and making just enough for a roof and partying. Paradise. One weekend, I go to a show, get completely shithoused, and stumble back up the hill to either get more fucked up or pass out at home. I decide to stop at the 7-Eleven directly across from my building. Yeah, no snacks. I grab everything my impulses and lack of inhibition tells me to, and I am about to pay for this garbage and be on my way. Set my things on the counter and politely introduce myself to the cashier as she is ringing up my last couple things. Without any kind of warning or rumbling beforehand, I am in excruciating pain. Right in my gut. A split second flashes by. I clutch and clench my legs together. I gasped. Bathroom. To her. It was too late 5 seconds ago. I try to take a step and bam. My bowels unleash with not only an ungodly sound from my ass, but a simultaneous yelp as if I were a chihuahua that had just been stomped on. I swear I have never been so suddenly sober without a cop being involved. I have shorts on. I look down, and just liquid shit down the back of my leg, into my boots, and starting to puddle on the floor. I just ran. No change. No snacks. No words. I lived at that spot for almost 2 years. Never went back. And never even walked across their lot to get anywhere. I would walk the same way around that place to avoid it every day. I feel terrible. Alright, that's about it this time. Hit that like button down below. Remember to leave a comment. If you want to see more awesome content, be sure to subscribe. Be sure you don't miss a video and hit that bell icon. See you next time.